Monday, everyone. No African safari video today. I'm so sad.
Oh, I like the animals.
I know.
Where are they?
Marks the official end of summer.
End of summer. Summer's over. Put a fork in it. Football started. Summer's over. How's that?
Okay.
But no, welcome to our Monday edition of the morning show. Of course, our good friend Pete Wilson's here to do the morning news update, and that's brought to you by Nia Henry, agent for Appalachia Realty. And if you are looking to buy or sell or have any real estate needs or wants, please give Nia a call, 740-418-4135, and she'll work hard for you.
Okay. All right. Well, very good. We do have a lot of news to report. Kind of the running the gamut from bad to good and everything in between, all over our two county areas, Jackson County and Benton County. And we're going to start off with a tragic news story.
Yeah.
We had a double fatality wreck.
Not good.
There on US 35 east of Jackson at the truck stop. Didn't happen in the truck stop lot or anything, but where you turn into the truck stop if you're heading east on 35 from Jackson. Always
been kind of a sketchy intersection.
It has proven to be a dangerous intersection for whatever reason. We hear a lot about a lot of serious accidents there. Of course, you have traffic coming at highway speed from both directions there on 35, and you have people pulling out from Clary Road there on the north side, and Dixon Run Road on the east, where the truck stop is. And this particular double fatality crash occurred at 5:35 p.m. On Friday. And a pickup truck that was being driven by Gary Hammond, age 70 of Jackson, was going across the highway from Dixon Run Road to Clary Road. That's moving from the truck stop across those 4 lanes of highway. His pickup truck was struck by a 2010 Dodge Challenger sports car, which was being driven westbound on US 35 by Gary Carrier, age 43 of Charleston, West Virginia. The way it worked, the sports car ran into the side of the pickup truck trying to cross 4 lanes of highway there. Anyway, as a result of that wreck, Gary Hammond's wife, who was a passenger there in the pickup truck, she was transported by Jackson County MS to Holzer Medical Center, Jackson. She was declared dead there. Also, the driver of the sports car, Mr. Carrier from Charleston, West Virginia, he also was killed in the wreck. Gary Hammond, the driver of the pickup truck, suffered serious injuries. He was flown to St. Mary's Regional Medical Center in Huntington, West Virginia, with serious injuries. We haven't heard how he may be doing. So two die as a result of that wreck. One other person seriously injured.
I hate to hear that.
Right. And of course, a lot of folks were affected, not like, the principals in the accident were, but a lot of people who travel through there were affected because the right lane of US Route 35 and Clary Road were shut down for approximately 4 hours late into the evening. The Ohio Department of Transportation, the Jackson County Sheriff's Office, the Bloomfield Township Fire Department, all there with the Ohio State Highway Patrol as the investigation of that wreck continues.
Yeah, and Clary Road's typically the detour around that, and if you don't have Clary to jump on, I don't know what you do.
Well, when there's been wrecks out there and they had all 4 lanes closed, or at least 2 lanes closed, one of the ways, if you can pull into the truck stop, Dixon Run Road, just go past Dixon Run Road to Barton Road, which is a little township road. But if you take that back towards Jackson, you run into Hanley Road, and then a lot of folks know where they're at.
But if you're not from here, you would never.
No, you wouldn't.
You'd be in trouble.
You wouldn't. If you're traveling on the interstate highway or whatever, and we're far away from home, you wouldn't know what to do if all lanes of an interstate were closed. You don't know.
I'm not getting on some backcountry road.
You don't know the local detours, and the official state detours always take you on the state highways, which are much longer, of course, than using some local road to get around.
I always found you just find somebody that looks like they know what they're doing and follow them.
Right, exactly. Exactly. You might want to make sure they know where they're going too.
Right.
All right. Well, anyway, that was at the top of our news.
That's a sad story.
But also late Thursday evening, of course, Wasn't able to report all the results of this when I was up here on TV most recently. But we talked about the ball game. That was it.
Yep.
But a Jackson County Common Pleas Court jury late on Thursday evening, after several hours of deliberation, found a Jackson area man, Jason Rowland, guilty of a first-degree felony count of rape and a third-degree felony count of gross sexual imposition. He is charged. He was charged with having sexual conduct with a female victim who was 4 years old at the time. Those crimes occurred between August 26, 2010 and August 25, 2011.
That's a long time ago.
Almost 10 years ago. A lot of times that's what happens in some of these sex charges, particularly involving, an underage victim. Sometimes information comes out later. Then, of course, there's going to be a lengthy investigation trying to figure out, what happened and what didn't happen before charges are brought. And the indictment on this case was fairly recently, and so it sat for a long time before this moved. I know that the victim made some comments on the stand that would indicate she wasn't sure, but overall the evidence was compelling enough for the jury to convict Mr. Rowland. Sentencing has not been held yet. That will be the business of Judge Christopher Reagan whenever the court is able to schedule that. Mr. Rowland was indicted in June 2019, a little bit more than a year ago. He was later arrested on those charges in Seattle, Washington, where he was at the time. Now, we're going to have a detailed story on this in our Wednesday paper. We were able to announce the verdict and get the news out on our various media platforms over the weekend. But Phil Buffington, our associate editor, kind of covered the trial. He didn't have to be there because, now they do a lot of video that anybody can see live. He monitored that pretty closely, and he's going to have a pretty detailed story about some of the witnesses and what was said and what led to this guilty verdict against Jason Rowland. All right. Okay, let's change gears and go the lighter side. This past Saturday evening, they had the Little Miss Apple Festival contest at the Jackson Middle School auditorium, and it was closed to the public because of COVID-19 restrictions. They did allow 8 tickets for each contestant. There were a total of 41 contestants. As it turned out, 38 actually showed up and competed. And so when you have that, and then you have other people who have business being there, you have all the red coats, the red shirts of the Jackson Apple Festival Committee, it was still about 2/3 full by my eyeballs. So, a good-sized crowd. And they also mainstreamed it on the JHS media team site. So, there was ways to see it. But anyway, we were there, and James is going to show us some pictures from that now. These 2 little girls here are 2 of the 10 contestants. The reason I chose them for a picture is they're sisters.
Yes.
It's the Baisden girls.
They are our neighbors.
They are? Okay.
Yes.
Well, that is Carly Baisden. She's on the right. She's the younger sister. That's Callie on the left. They are the daughters of Tyler and Brittany Baisden. Yep. And, every now and then you have sisters or brothers competing in whatever. And it's always a little tough for the parents because, one might win and one might not.
Know, right.
But in this case, that was their biggest fear, that one little girl would win and one wouldn't. But they both did, and you can see how happy they are there. Now, we're going to show you the big group. That is all 10 finalists, along with the Apple Fest or the Little Miss Apple Festival from 2019, Kennedy Niddle. She's there on the far right.
Kennedy's
on the left.
Been the little queen for 14 years now. I feel like
it's been a long range, and let me tell you, she did a super job at the pageant.
Wonderful.
She was involved in the actual pageant. She just wasn't there for show. She asked the final question to each of the contestants, and because they don't always answer quickly. It was a random question. They didn't know they were going to answer it. They stumble a little bit. She was able to always follow up, asking them again to try to get them to answer that very important question. But I'm going to give you the names of all the girls, not particularly in order. Michaela Simpson, Annabelle Trumbull, Tylea Henderson, of course, Carly Baisden and Callie Baisden, we named them, Natalie Harwood, Hadley House, Sadie Newkirk, Paisley Brown, and Olivia Brown, a total of 38 candidates, and we have 10 finalists. And The other girls there, of course, that's the regular Apple Festival royalty, and as we said, Little Miss Kennedy as well. So all those little girls now will go to the final pageant in September. And here are the current 2021 Jackson Apple Festival royalty. They were picked back in April.
Yes.
Because they had a closed contest then, but with not as many contestants, you didn't have as many parents you had to get in, and also the restrictions were a little bit tighter then. So they had that contest back in April. The reason they didn't do the Little Miss is they were hoping that if they waited a little bit, they could have a, quote, normal pageant in the auditorium where they wanted to have it.
Yes.
And it is a little more normal, but as you know, what's happened lately, in the school with their mask rule right now that they have for students and staff, they obviously, if they were going to have an in-person event, it had to be restricted, and everybody was expected to wear masks. And the red shirts were going around making sure that people did. It looked like that compliance was there.
Yep.
But the other three girls who are the current Apple Festival royalty, we have, of course, Katie Howard. She is the queen. The first attendant is Kirsten Clark. She's from Oak Hill. And the second attendant is McKinley Morris. And, footnote, we said this before, but we'll say it again. McKinley Morris, the second attendant, and Katie Howard, the queen, were both little queens, little misses, way back when. They are the second and third, I think, to be Little Miss to become the queen. And another footnote, the first Little Miss to do that was our own Karina Folks, exactly. So, we need to have her up here to relive that.
We do. She has to wear both crowns.
Right. All right. Exactly. That's right. But then, we can have the Horse Queen versus the Little Miss Queen.
That's right.
Right. And we'll see how that goes.
See how well she does
on
a horse.
But anyway, Catherine Jones was the Mistress of Ceremonies from the Apple Festival Committee. She did a great job as well. Kennedy Niddle, Little Miss, helped her with the contest. And it was a very nice event with 38 contestants involved. During that event, the Apple Festival royalty and the current Apple Festival president made some very important announcements about the Apple Festival that I'm going to share with you.
Oh,
Plus, I had a little interview with Brandon Davis, and he told me some other things that we can also add in there. This is the 80th annual Jackson Apple Festival that's coming up. It was supposed to be last year, but as you know, you know what happened. The Rona came along. Canceled a lot of things.
Yep.
For the first time since World War II, there was not an actual Jackson County Apple Festival. Now, of course, the Jackson Apple Festival. Well, this year's festival is on September 21 through 25, and they announced that the Grand Marshal for this year's Apple Festival will be former Jackson Mayor Randy Heath.
Oh,
and
good.
There is Randy.
We going to get him out?
We're going to try to get him out. Randy's been very had some health issues earlier in the year, and he's being careful.
He's being very careful.
Super careful about being out and among them, but he does hope to participate.
Yep.
But Randy was the mayor of Jackson for 3 terms. He was the Chamber of Commerce director for 24 years. Many other activities in the community and outside the community in government, civics, in the Rotary for a long time, the Rotary president. We'll go over some of Randy's accomplishments and what he's done to earn this great community honor a little closer to the festival. But one thing, another reason that probably Randy was chosen, when he was the mayor and the Chamber of Commerce director, he was a top booster of the Jackson Apple Festival. He always talked it up. He always felt like that was one of the best advertisements for Jackson and Jackson County, the Apple Festival. And he was a great ambassador for the Apple Festival, and now he will be honored. Now, the theme for the Apple Festival was announced earlier, but we'll say that again. It is 80 years of Apple premieres, 80 years of Apple premieres, and that, of course, is, directly connected to the 80th Apple Festival. So we'll see a lot of 80s there in the themes for the booths, the floats, and the windows, and everywhere else that they, celebrate the Apple Festival. That was submitted by Bundy Elementary of Wellston. That's a 2-part contest where you can submit a theme, and then voting is online for at least part of that. They also announced that the lead entertainment, it's always usually a country music performer. It's always on Friday night. Same case this year. Phil Vassar will be there. A lot of folks have heard Phil Vassar who know country music. He still tours. He was especially big in the decade of 2000 to 2010. He is an award-winning, not only singer, but songwriter. He has written some very key songs.
Yeah, a lot of people know his songs even more than they know him as a singer.
Right. Yeah, he has written some big songs for some of the main
Yep.
performers, in addition to be a great performer in his own right. And that is usually pretty late on Friday evening down there on the main stage. When we have all the details of the times, we will let you know.
Okay.
The secondary entertainment act that we can tell you about will be on Thursday evening. They always do a tribute artist. That's been the tradition in recent years. We're going to have the Parrots of the Caribbean. Now, what kind of tribute artist would that be, would you think? The
Well,
Parrots of the Caribbean.
I'm guessing that might be a Jimmy Buffett
You
kind
got
of
it.
theme.
Jimmy Buffett, Margaritaville, and all those hits will be
That's
there.
awesome.
I don't know whether they'll have somebody who is actually impersonating Jimmy Buffett or not, but it will be all that music. And there are really some groupies around here
definitely.
that are big Jimmy Buffett fans. So that sounds like a good choice for the Apple Festival. Once again, instead of the Pirates of the Caribbean, it's the Parrots of the Caribbean.
How cute.
That'll be on Thursday evening. Okay, they also announced that they're going to be able to have the 3 parades, and this is a big thing for the festival, whether bands can come or are going to come, because that brings a lot of people in the crowd, and it makes that so-called largest lighted parade in the state of Ohio on Saturday night truly the largest lighted parade.
Let's just be honest. My favorite part of the parades are the bands, so
right. Well,
you love to see them.
They usually have maybe 20 high school bands. And I wondered if all the bands are traveling this year, did they make the commitments because they schedule ahead of time? I was told by one of the Apple Festival committee members they expect to have about the same number of bands as usual.
Sweet.
They'll also have the Apple Festival band show down at the high school earlier in the day on that finale day of the festival, Saturday. That's Saturday, September the 25th. Also, pre-sale ride passes are now available. And there is going to be a new rides company. I can't give you the name. The Bates Brothers Amusement Company has done it for years and years. There was a conflict that occurred where they had booked themselves into another festival, and they weren't able to come to the Apple Festival this year. And that was a little bit of concern behind the scenes, obviously, for the Apple Festival, because they thought they had Bates Brothers. But as it turned out, they've got another rides company, and they're crossing their fingers. They hope that will work out good. They're so relieved that they've got somebody to be able to replace Bates Brothers with not a lot of notice. So, speaking of the rides, pre-sale ride passes are now on sale. You can get them now. And if you're going to ride or take your kids or your neighbors or whatever on rides, you want to do this, they cost $10. They're good for the whole day. And if you wait until the festival and buy, ride tickets, then it's going to cost a lot more per ride.
That's right.
Than it is for a $10 ride pass. You can get the ride passes now from any Jaffe member. That's the Jackson Area Festival and Events Committee that basically runs the Apple Festival, with the Apple Festival Committee being part of it. But the pre-sale ride passes can be purchased at the following businesses: Elizabeth Flowers and Gifts, U Store, Virgil Hamilton Nationwide Insurance, Brodigan Sporting Goods, that's in Wellston, Jones Stevenson Insurance, Ohio Valley Bank in Jackson, Southern Ohio Smiles, the Lewis Insurance Agency in Oak Hill, Nana's House, Sherwood Folks Insurance, and Apple City Artisans. And once again, Jaffe members will have them as well. They're on sale now. I think they'll remain on sale until just before the Apple Festival starts. They are $10. We also want to tell you on the Apple Festival this year, it's well known by local folks. Some of the people are involved in these clubs, and other people are just interested in what's going on or not going on at the Apple Festival. 2 anchor booths in the Apple Festival are going to change this year. The Rotary Club is not able to be in the festival this year. Neither is the Jackson Lions Club.
What?
I
no
know.
Pizza rolls?
Pizza rolls and mushrooms at the Rotary booth, and of course veal and fish at the Lions. I tell you what, it became, Jennifer, it's kind of indirect effect of COVID-19, and the fact that the clubs just weren't able to conduct regular affairs like they were. A number of things happened with the Rotary. They had to change their venue of where they have their meetings, etc. But the bottom line is, this is a labor-intensive deal.
Yes,
doing these Apple Festival booths, setting it up, manning it for all those hours that you have to do it. And basically, neither of those 2 civic groups can do it, at least this year.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the Lions Club situation is, but I know the Rotary Club situation is hoping it's a 1-year absence.
Okay.
But the Apple Festival Committee has got 2 booths to take their places, at least this year, and I presume it may go beyond this year. but it is the Buckeye Hills Career Center's culinary department.
Yes.
So, they cook and they do food.
Yes.
So this will be a great opportunity for them to practice their craft and get some great exposure.
Love that.
For a bunch of people. And the other new anchor booth will be World Outreach Ministries.
Okay.
That is the large church on State Route 327, just east of Wellston there.
Yeah.
It's a big church, lots of members, and they're going to be making their appearance at the Apple Festival this year. Also, the Christ United Methodist Church will be doing their noodles and beans again. That's just right here, just outside our office. And the Wellston Band Boosters, they had a great experience last year on their first year. They will be back as well.
Woohoo!
Some of the others I don't know about yet, but once again, all that is coming, and it's just about a month away now.
Can you believe it?
The Jackson Apple Festival, September 21 through 25.
Man.
And of course, last week we talked, because we had the Queen's Contest, or the Little Miss and the Junior Miss Contest, we talked about the Ohio Hill Country Festival in Wellston. That is coming up even sooner, September 7th through 11th on the downtown streets of Wellston. We'll certainly be talking more about that very soon. All right, we had the Jack Stone Memorial Fly-In at the James A. Rhodes Jackson County Airport last Saturday. I understand it went very well. Obviously, they had good weather, which you need to have for a fly-in, and also to get the people there.
Yep.
And remember, we're calling it the Jack Stone Memorial Fly-In because it's honoring former, longtime airport manager, pilot, and mechanic Jack Stone. And this was a little presentation that took place during the fly-in. Second from your right there, if you're looking at the picture on your monitors, that is Barbara Stone. She is the widow of the late Jack Stone. She was presented a wall print of flyers from past events by a delegation of pilots and people who are associated with the airport. Also in that picture from the left, because you probably won't recognize them with their hats on, Joe Kirby, Kyle Lewis, Don Lewis, and there on the far right is the airport manager, Gerald Burchett. I believe they are all pilots. But anyway, that is Barbara Stone there receiving that award. I know she was very touched by that. Nice decision, I think, by the airport authority and the folks who run the airport to honor Jack Stone, because he was the airport for many, many years. And through some, pretty challenging and lean times out there, kept that small rural airport running. He was the man with the boots on the ground.
That's right.
All right. Okay.
James took some really cool pictures out there of some of the different planes, too, so
Right,
it's neat.
right. And our own Trevor Bailey was out there last Saturday. He reported that it was a nice event. They had concessions out there as well. It gave people a chance to see the airport property. That's another reason to do it. And, of course, that terminal building is fairly new, too, just built several years ago. All right, speaking of new things, we're paving streets in the city of Jackson.
We are.
We've talked
They're
about
moving
that.
quick.
So I'm letting you know this is a big deal because, this is income tax money that is being used to improve at least sections of 9 streets in the city of Jackson this year. So far, the section of Huron Street from Vaughan to Main Street has been done. A section of Harding Avenue from Main down past the park to the bridge has been done. And also a section of Burlington Road has been done as well. If you're out driving, you've probably noticed that. There are still 6 sections of road to go. G&J Paving, who's doing the contracting, Jennifer, had a little mechanical problem, and they're not going to be able to work today, but hopefully they will be at work later in the week, according to Mayor Randy Evans. And the next 2 streets to be done are Evans Place, which is the little, I guess you would call it maybe an alley almost.
The drive-through post office.
It's paved. Yeah. If you're driving through to the post office, dropping off mail there on the drive-through, that's Evans Place there. It connects Main and Water Streets. And also the other one that will be done next will be the section of Veterans Drive from Harding Avenue out past Carr Street and near where Callahan Hardware is.
Okay.
Because that's a pretty bumpy section there.
It is, and it's just time for that to be redone because that gets used quite a bit. People don't realize how much Veterans Drive gets used.
That is one of its great values. It is a through street.
Oh, it is.
To escape the East Main Street
one of
traffic.
the best things that's ever happened to this town, I think.
Right. No, and also what it does is, never forget this, it helps economic development because there can be commercial and even industrial progress along there.
That's
and
right.
there's back entrances to the plants on East Main Street,
Mm-hmm.
some of them at least off Veterans Drive. Of course, Callahan Hardware, our friends there, they built a new hardware store there
That's right.
years ago after Veterans Drive was created. But other streets to be done in addition to Evans Place in that section of Veterans Drive, a section of David Avenue from south to State Street, a section of Ohio Avenue also from south to State, section of Vine Street on the northeast side of town from Jones Street to Chillicothe Street, and a section of Orange Street from David Avenue to Payne Street. So all that still in the offing. And as we've said, there is some money left over from the paving contract and the money allocated for paving because the bid came in lower than expected. The best bid did anyway.
That's
and
amazing.
So Randy Evans hopes that there's time left in this paving season to do a little bit more after these streets are done.
Nothing ever comes in below.
Well, it doesn't seem like it anyway. But, in this case it did. I guess there was lots of competition out there this time. That usually is the result of that. Okay, also, there's a big highway project going on at the state level that's going to affect the Jackson area. Beginning today, and now this came from ODOT last week. I don't know whether anything's changed. Sometimes these schedules change. But beginning today, there will be overnight lane closures in the city of Jackson through a resurfacing project on State Route 93 and State Route 139, two different locations. Lane restrictions will occur nightly from 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. So what it is, to avoid closing down the street or having restricted traffic during the day, they're going to do it in the evening and the nighttime, overnight, when the traffic is lighter. That doesn't happen a whole lot, but that's what they say is going to happen here. Traffic will be maintained with flaggers. State Route 93 will be closed between 4 Mile Road and State Route 32. State Route 32, of course, right there where, how can I say? Just when you get past Rowdy's there.
Yeah.
Right when you get past Rowdy's and you can turn off to go west to Waverly and Holzer and east to Wellston and that way. So from there down to 4 Mile Road, this is going to be a major project that will take place this year. Next year, there will be another section of State Route 93 that will be done back here towards town. But also on
that's going to affect the Walmart traffic.
It is, and because it's a highly commercialized section with a lot of traffic, I've been told that there's more traffic in Jackson County on that section of road than anywhere else. I believe that's true. So that will happen starting tonight, 8 p.m. to 6 a.m. There'll be traffic and lane restrictions on that section of State Route 93. Also on State Route 39 from Jackson High School down there on Vaughn Street to Broadway Street. That is actually, a lot of people don't know it. State Route 39 comes into town.
139.
And actually, 139, yes, 139 actually ends on Broadway Street, right in the center of town at Main and Broadway. That's the terminus for one of State Route 139.
Okay.
So State Route 139 on between Jackson High School and Broadway Street will be closed. Will be closed from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. for this work. Work is estimated to be completed on both projects sometime this fall, whatever that is.
Woo-wee! That's a while.
So all that is happening. Two major projects are going to affect traffic in town starting tonight. All right, in Benton County, there is a project there that we should report on. One lane of State Route 677, that would be east of MacArthur, is now closed. This is an ongoing project between U.S. Route 50 and Infirmary Road through a culvert replacement project. Temporary traffic signals and an 11-foot width restriction are in place. Work is estimated to be completed on Thursday, September 30th. All right, in the city of Jackson, there'll be two meetings tonight that will affect Jackson city government. 5 o'clock, the Jackson City Caucus of the Republican Central Committee will meet at the Juvenile Court building, and the purpose of that meeting is to pick a person to fill the 2nd Ward Council seat currently that was held by the late John Peters. That same person will also be chosen to be on the ballot because that office was on the ballot in the general election this year. And Mr. Peters had already had his petition approved prior to his death.
Yes.
And so that person will not only serve the remainder of the unexpired term, which will be through the end of the calendar year, through December 31st, but their name will also be on the ballot for a new 2-year term that would start in 2022.
Okay.
And right now, there are no other candidates for that seat. Mr. Peters was unopposed. And so unless there is a write-in candidacy, and they have to file their declaration by the end of August, sometime late this month, that person will be elected officially in November as well. That meeting is at 5 o'clock tonight. Anybody who is a Republican and lives in the 2nd Ward and is a registered voter is eligible to be a candidate. You can send information in ahead of time or just show up tonight.
Have you heard? Is there anyone that's shown interest?
I have not heard, but my guess is that they would not just. I don't think the Republican Party would let that happen. That nobody is interested. They may have.
They got to recruit somebody to do it, right?
Right. They may have seen what applicants came in or whatever, but they were probably out hustling to make sure that they get somebody to fill that position. At 7 p.m., I'm thinking that whoever gets picked will show up and actually serve at their first council meeting, because the Jackson City Council is expected to meet at 7 p.m. this evening.
Yeah.
7 p.m. this evening. There is a service committee at 6 p.m. Meeting tonight prior to the council meeting to talk about franchise fees in the city. All right, on the city side, I don't have a whole lot to say about this, but I'm going to acknowledge it. Mayor Randy Evans announced via Facebook on Saturday expressing remorse at the death of a very important person in the city, and that, of course, is Wendy Sexton. A lot of people have heard about her death, her recent death. She was the Jackson City Deputy Auditor under Auditor Brett Reed for quite a few years. She served under other auditors as well. She was a very silent force behind the scenes. She didn't really like to be out front, but she very much was a very important person in that auditor's office and in the city of Jackson. And Wendy, at a fairly young age, died after a brief but serious illness.
Yes.
And so a lot of sadness in the city of Jackson. And no funeral arrangements or anything that we know of yet. But we know that her husband, Dusty Sexton, also ill in the hospital right now too. So a very, very difficult time for the Sexton family and all her family members and many friends and colleagues in the city.
Yes.
So we certainly, are thinking of them at this very, very difficult time.
Absolutely.
All right, in the village of MacArthur, one of the things, this is another traffic story. A big traffic story there we talked about, is a culvert replacement project on US Route 50. I know that doesn't sound, very exciting, but it is a big thing in MacArthur and for the Benton County local schools. It even came up as a point of discussion at the last school board meeting, because the way it works, US Route 50, culvert replacement project on the west side there, where there's a restaurant called the Main Eatery.
Okay.
They didn't want to close the whole highway because it's such an important.
50 is just kind of how you get places,
right? And this is just a through traffic. This is a big issue locally because on one side, on the east side, you have the village of MacArthur, where a lot of people live. West of that, on the other side of this culvert replacement work, you have some commercial buildup, but most notably the new Benton County High School and the Benton County Middle School, and you have the new grocery store, Campbell's Market there. And this is just the way it works. I'm not from Benton County, but people who live in MacArthur especially know this. There just isn't another way around.
There's no other way. You're right.
You may be going miles out of your way to go, from the village to the high school or vice versa. If that culvert replacement project happened to close the whole highway. So they did rig it up. So they did one lane at a time, and all along there has been at least one lane of traffic open.
Okay.
Even then, there's going to be some bottlenecks.
Absolutely.
Especially during, the school rush hours, I guess you would say. The latest on that, according to the village of MacArthur, and this was acknowledged at the school board meeting, they hope to have it completed by September the 3rd.
Okay, good.
So we will be watching that. Okay, another thing brought up at the school board meeting that we'll mention is that they are trying to complete some improvements at the tennis court at Benton County High School. There it is. Of course, in Benton County colors, you see the maroon and gray there. They're still having to do some painting there. There was some delays in getting that project done. and they have not been able to have at least one of the tennis matches there that they would normally have. Girls tennis happens in the fall. As a matter of fact, a match last Wednesday between Jackson and Benton County was postponed because the tennis court not being ready. So they hope that the tennis courts will be ready in the very near future, and they can have most of their matches there on their home court.
Sure.
So we'll be watching that. Next door here, they had another auction. Call Auto Sales had their second big auction this summer. And there you see a picture. On the left, you see one of the top auctioneers in Jackson County himself, Preston Mustard. And you see a good friend of Dan Morrow who's helped him through this auction process, Marty Ross, holding up one of the old nostalgic items that was on the auction block. That is an old commercial sign for that site. The address has changed since that time. Auto supply store, Goodyear tires. That was used by the Call Auto Sales business way back when. Remember, the Call Auto Sales business goes back 100 years or more. And of course, it closed last September. And they're having two liquidation auctions. They had one in June where they sold a lot of the larger items, including the Annex building across the street.
Yes.
And this particular auction that they held on Saturday, they had 71 bidders. It was another big event. They sold a wide variety of small items: signage, antiques, racks, model automobiles, tool bins, motor oil, transmission fluids, shop manuals, some office furniture, and even an old door at the old opera house upstairs.
Oh, cool.
So, you had people looking for really good deals on auto stuff,
Sure.
practical people. You had some automobile-related businesses there and collectors there. You had some souvenir hunters there, some nostalgia buffs there, history buffs there. It drew quite a crowd, not only local people, but also from out of town. I know there were registered bidders from West Virginia, Kentucky, and as far away as Dayton, Ohio.
Wow.
So that was on Saturday. We're going to have a report on that in one of our papers this week.
Was that the final sale, or will there be more? Or?
That was the last auction. Auction. Everything is sold, I guess, that is going to be sold that I know of.
Okay.
At least no other public auctions. Okay, speaking of business downtown, the Jude Soap Company, which is a new business in downtown Jackson on Broadway Street. It's where the Tasty Days of Old Store is.
That's right.
They have been open on an online basis for a few weeks, but they are going to open their doors to the public with a grand opening on September the 1st. That's Wednesday, September the 1st. The store will open at 10 a.m. They've announced their hours. They'll be open Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Have you heard of Jude Soap?
I have.
Well, tell me what it is, because I can't tell everybody what it is because I don't know.
Well, it's some local folks that, as far as I know, that are making their own soaps. And I do know, and I'm sorry, I can't remember her name, but she had contacted us regarding making some soap out of like some of our beers from the brewery and things like that. So using local products and some all natural stuff, that kind of thing. Okay. So yeah, I think that you'll be really excited about it. It's going to be neat. Okay. And a really good addition to a downtown, store front.
Right. Exactly. All right. Well, on the COVID-19 front, I don't have any new news to give you as far as statistics go. Okay. Remember, the last couple of weeks, we've seen a rise in cases all over the place, including, unfortunately, here at home in Jackson County and Benton County. We expect to have, if they hold true to form, some updated reports later in the day. Of course, we'll be reporting on, on our through the radio, on the newspaper. We'll get it out on the website as soon as possible. We can talk about it up here Thursday or maybe even before if the news is really startling. But the Benton County Health Department, on a related note, has announced that they will be doing Johnson & Johnson vaccines, a clinic on Thursday, August the 26th. That would be this coming Thursday. And it is come on a first-come, first-served basis. It will be 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. The Johnson & Johnson vaccine is the one-shot deal, remember. So that is at the Benton County Health Department. That's located on State Route 93 on the north end of MacArthur. The Jackson County Health Department, in addition to dealing with COVID-19, they've not forgotten about the problem of drug overdoses in the county. And one of the services that they do, that they advertise, and we'll mention it here, is they offer free Narcan kits and a training video. Now, Narcan, if you haven't heard about it, that is a device that you can use when a person is overdosing. You apply it to their nostrils, you spray it in there, and it brings them out of it. I won't tell you the medical or physiological way that works.
Don't know, just know it works.
Right, but the law enforcement uses it, EMS use it, regular folks can use it, but you have to be trained on how to use it. But you can get free Narcan kits at the Jackson County Health Department and that training video that goes with it. You can apply for it online, or you can call the health department at 286-5094. If you make that contact, they will even bring you the Narcan kit, and they won't charge you a thing through it. It is provided through this service by the Jackson County Heightened Overdose Prevention and Education Initiative, which is to help prevent overdose deaths through Narcan. Now, that's controversial. Some people feel that, you're encouraging almost overdoses and drug use by having this rescue system. But it's about saving a life, and you never want to give up on a person. I think. I don't think that's too much of a wrong stance to take. And we try to report on this from time to time. Jackson County Municipal Court Marked Music feels very strong about getting the word out on this and not keeping it under wraps. Drug overdoses and drug overdose deaths continue to be a major problem all over, but maybe even more so from a population ratio standpoint in southeastern Ohio. Jackson County, Benton County, Scioto County are always in the top 10 of the state in percentage of drug overdose deaths in the county.
You're right.
All right. This past weekend was football Friday night or football Thursday night. If you're a Jackson Ironman fan, I was up here Friday talking about the Jackson Ironman's victory over the Logan Chieftains, 42-7. Well, on Friday night, the Wellston Golden Rockets hosted the Oak Hill Oaks. Two local teams had a heck of a ball game for a half. It was 7-6 Wellston at halftime. But Wellston took charge in the second half, scored 3 unanswered touchdowns, and ended up winning by a score of 28-6.
Wow.
I know that there was a big crowd on hand for that game.
I'll bet.
Wellston real fired up about its team after being in the playoffs last year. And Oak Hill, also in the playoffs last year, but rebuilding this year. They took a good crowd up State Route 93 for that game. Also, that evening, up State Route 93 a little further, the Benton County Vikings had their first game of the season. It was at home. For the first time in quite a while, they defeated Unioto in the season opening game 12-7.
Way to go.
And that one came down to the very last minute. Benton County was ahead 12-7. They had a bad punt snap when they were trying to punt. Unioto recovered, around the 10-yard line, something like that. With about a minute to go, but no timeouts. But Benton County, as they had all game, the defense was able to keep Unioto out of the end zone and preserve that 12-7 victory. What a great start for new head coach T.J. Carper. So that was his first game. So this weekend, there's going to be a set of new games. Jackson goes to Ironton. And Ironton,
oh boy.
You know what they did? They beat Wheelersburg 40-6. Did you hear that? I said 40-6. Sports fans, knowledgeable football fans know that's a big deal because Wheelersburg, along with Ironton, they are the Titans of Southeast Ohio. Jackson's not far from them. They've been that good too. But when you beat Wheelersburg 40-6, you must be pretty good again. And that's where Jackson is going this Friday. But the Ironmen had a good game too.
Hey, they sure did.
And Coach Andy Hall, as we said, they've got a tough schedule, but he says that's what we want. So that'll be this Friday. Wellston will be going to Piketon. They'll be on the road. Benton County will be hosting Crooksville. Now on the schedule, that was at Crooksville, but Crooksville has facility problems, and they're going to have to play all their games on the road.
So
Crooksville will be coming to Benton County, and that is now a home game for the Vikings. Okay. It'll be a big Friday night at Oak Hill, too, Jennifer. Not only is it the Oaks' first home game, Fairland will be visiting, but it will be the first game on the new artificial turf.
Whoop, whoop.
So that'll be very exciting. We've had some, stories and progress reports as that's being done.
That's right.
But they had to do a lot in a fairly short time. Still work to do, a lot of work to do on track repair, but the football stadium is ready to go as far as the football games and band and all like that. They were supposed to have it done no later than August 20th, and they did. And so the first home football game on the 27th, this Friday, is on.
That'd be
we hope to
awesome.
have some more coverage on that this week as too, because that is a big deal and big investment for the Oak Hill schools.
Sure
And
is.
one other sports note to say, at Wellston on Friday night, C.H. Jones Field, before the Wellston Oak Hill game, the Wellston High School Athletic Department inducted 3 new members of the Wellston High School Athletic Hall of Fame.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it is a big deal, and what a better venue to do it than at a home football game when you have a lot of attendance. But the 3 new inductees are Andrea Wyatt. She is a 1996 graduate of Wellston High School and was a 3-sports standout for the Golden Rockets. She played volleyball, basketball, and softball. She was all-district in volleyball and basketball. Also, more recently, Chris Hutchinson, class of 2000, what an outstanding football and trackster he was. He had 4 varsity letters in both of those 2 sports. He graduated as the school's all-time leading rusher with 3,272 yards, and he surpassed 1,000 yards in 2 of those seasons.
Wow.
The 1,379 yards that he rushed for in 1998 set a single season record that stood for quite some time. Okay, in TVC track, Hutchinson won the 100-meter dash title as a junior, captured 5 relay titles in his career, and set conference records and tied 1 other. He led Wellston to the conference championship in 2000. So that was Chris Hutchinson, who was also a former football coach later at Wellston. Also, the oldest inductee, and he was there, was Butch Staten, 1962 graduate of Wellston High School. He was he earned 3 varsity letters in football and graduated. When he graduated in '62, he was the all-time leading rusher with 2,390 yards. He set a single season record of 1,174 yards. That record stood for 37 years before it was finally broken. And he was all SUL in 1960 and 1961. Those were great years for the Wellston High School football program, and he helped lead the way as a running back. So that's the news as I have it right now.
Very good.
Hey, Pete,
Yes.
you mentioned COVID a couple minutes ago, which is a little bit of a breaking story now, like on the national level. Just saw it pop up. So the Pfizer vaccine, all the vaccines had emergency use authorization from the FDA, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the Pfizer vaccine now has full approval from the FDA, making it the first one of the vaccines
Okay.
to achieve that.
Okay.
That is breaking news.
Well, that's good. That is good. That will certainly give some people, a better feeling about taking the vaccine, because there's a myriad of different reasons why people
Boy,
have
are
chosen
there ever.
not to take in the vaccines. Some may be political, some may be medical, some may be I'm not really sure about this, and I don't like sticking needles in my arm. They feel the same way about flu shots, maybe.
Sure.
So. That is definitely a big breakthrough. Of course, one of the things we talked about last week was the Biden administration gunning to have the booster shots available as early as next month for everybody who has already fully vaccinated with the Pfizer and the Moderna vaccines.
Yep. And I mean the other thing is it hurts real bad when they stick that microchip in your arm.
Oh, do they do that? Laugh when you say that, all right? Because you're on TV. People are seeing you. They're talking. See, I knew it was true. Jennifer said so.
I know. Now it's going to be all over the internet because we said so.
Well,
I'm
Jennifer
totally
said it.
joking.
Well,
Jennifer
here's the
said it on
thing,
TV.
though, that the factory that made the computer chips for all the cars that burnt down, they also were the ones making the COVID vaccine.
So they all burn up
yeah,
too.
so they all burn up too. So there's not enough chips. To
So
go.
don't worry. There's not enough chips to run our car. There's certainly not enough to put in our vaccines.
Wow. Okay.
Pete's like, get me out of here. You people are crazy.
All right. Well, we also want to tell you, Jennifer, this was our football preview that we put in last Wednesday's edition.
Yeah.
We're going to have another similar section in Wednesday's paper. It will be our Section B. It will be committed to fall sports.
Great.
The other sports, not just football. We
Sure.
have soccer, volleyball, golf, tennis, cross country. All those. We have a lot of kids working hard in those sports.
Yeah.
And we will have stories and/or pictures of all those sports from our 4 high schools, Jackson, Oak Hill, Wellston, and Benton County in Saturday's paper. Of course, we'll also have, for our print subscribers, we'll also have, the game write-ups from Oak Hill, Wellston, and Benton County Unioto as well.
Very good.
And that will be included, by the way, as part of the fall sports preview. So it'll be 8 pages. It'll be 10 pages of sports, 8 pages fall sports, 2 pages of regular sports. And then we'll have all that other news in the A section, some of which I've talked about ad nauseum with you for nearly an hour.
Well, thank you, Pete.
All right. Well, very good. I will go downstairs and try to see that we take care of the print edition for all this stuff.
Get those papers out.
Hey, Pete, question real quick.
Yes, sir.
Will the bands be highlighted in the fall sports section, or will they be highlighted somewhere else?
I'll have to take a pass on that on James. I know that in the football edition we had the cheerleaders, and I'm not sure what our man Todd Compton is planning
for the bands.
On the bands. However, I do know this on the news side, we are working on stories on each of the band programs in Jackson and Benton counties, all 4 band programs. And I've said this before, and I stand by it. We've got some good band programs in our local area.
Amazing.
Sometimes they do it a different way. They do different things, but they all do a good job.
Yep.
Good numbers in the program, and they do a great job. And when they all get together through a band festival or something, it's definitely worth going to. So, James, the short answer is I'm not sure it's going to be part of the preview. I don't think that it is. I haven't been told that. We let Todd do his thing there. But I do know that we're going to do individual stories on all the band programs, and we're working on that maybe even as we speak.
There you go.
All right, very good.
Because Pete Wilson said so.
That's right. And I heard what you said about the microchip, and I'll change my mind about that 3rd vaccine.
I think you're safe, Pete.
All right.
All right. And of course, thank you to Pete, and thank you to Nia Henry for sponsoring the morning news update. And give her a call, 740-418-4135, if you have any real estate needs. All right, let's head on over to your Total Media Radio weather forecast, where it is looking a little warmer for this week. However, that rain is moving out of the forecast. So partly cloudy today, highs around 91, lows around 67. Mostly sunny tomorrow, highs around 92, lows of 69. Then on Wednesday, mostly sunny, highs around 94, lows around 70, and so on and so forth as the week rolls on. Maybe a little bit cooler, but not a lot. But that's okay, because 'tis the season for the summer weather. All right, well, we do have a few minutes left, and James, did you find that video?
Yeah, I'm working on bringing it up right now.
So I saw this article this morning, so hold on to your horses, because we'll get to it. That was a pun intended. Did you get it, James?
I got it.
So picture this. You are driving down the highway, and there is, in Henderson County, Kentucky, and you're driving down the highway, and you see something coming, like, toward you on the highway. And so what you see is, James is getting it, this. Yeah, that was a racehorse. There you go. Evidently, the track was not interesting enough, so we wanted to run down the highway. So that is Bold and Bossy. I think her name is very fitting. And Bold and Bossy threw off her jockey at the Ellis Park Racing and Gaming Racetrack in Henderson County, Kentucky. And she, decided that she was going to throw off old Miguel Mina and run off the track. They say that the announcer was saying, "We have a loose horse on the track. She has unseated the rider and is loose." Well, that didn't last very long, because she then went out onto the highway, ran down Interstate 69, which is a 4-lane, sometime afternoon. So that guy was driving down the highway and saw this racehorse coming. What would you do? You saw this racehorse, the same thing that guy did.
Yeah, tape it.
Tape it.
Put it on the gram.
His yeah, right, on the IG. His commentary was pretty funny. He said, I first saw something about 300 yards down the road moving fast toward me that obviously wasn't a vehicle. As it got closer, it looked like a horse, but my brain was telling me that it couldn't be on a horse because I'm on the interstate. He said when he was about 50 yards away, there was no more denying that a racehorse was heading toward my car. Luckily, she dodged my car and kept on running. It's the craziest thing I've seen in real life or a dream. So, old Bolden Bossy ran for a really long time, strangely enough. They tried to catch her, and she eluded sheriff's deputies and was finally caught, are you ready for this, in a neighboring county. She ran so far that they finally caught her. Another county sheriff was able to corral her, and boy, had she just stuck on the racetrack, I'm guessing she would have been the big winner.
So as the horse queen, how would you have handled that situation?
I mean, if I got thrown from the horse or saw a horse running down the highway.
Like, just that happens, and they turn to you and say, horse queen, there's a horse loose. What do we do?
What do we do?
Yeah.
Well, I guess if she's running down the freeway and I'm driving, there's probably not a lot you could do other than call and report it, which I'm sure 700,000 million other people did as a racehorse goes zipping past you. But if she had slowed down, I would get out and try to corral her.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, the thing with horses is like anything else, you know, a dog that's running or whatever, you just have to remain calm and you have to approach them like very nonchalantly, which is really hard sometimes because they're in situations where they need to get off the highway or whatever. But, yeah. So, bold and bossy. I bet she's tired today. If someone could keep her on the track, she probably has a pretty good career in her future.
Yeah, if she could go straight.
She's got a lot of stamina. You got to turn left at the corner, sweetheart. And you got to keep the jockey on your back.
Yeah, that's important. That guy's... If you lose that guy, I don't think it counts.
Yeah, I don't think if you win the race without the jockey on your back, it counts.
Yeah.
That's just...
I'm not an expert, though. I could be wrong.
Opinion. Yeah. That's the opinion of the ex-horse queen. The has-been horse queen. So there you go. Bold and bossy. I like it. All right. Well, thank you so much. We are kind of out of time already this morning. So thank you so much to our good friend Pete Wilson for spending the morning with us and going over all of the local news. And thank you to James for pushing all the right buttons, as he always does, and getting us on the air. Taking some great pictures out at the air show. That was really cool. Or the fly-in. It was funny because, as I've mentioned a couple times here, I live out by the airport, and it was like spot on right at 9 a.m. The planes started flying over our house, and it was just like one after the other, which was pretty cool. I was up and about, so I didn't care. But it is pretty neat. It's like, oh, there's another one. There's another one. So, all right. Well, have a great day, everyone. And we will be back here tomorrow. I don't know if we have any guests this week or not planned so far.
Someone from Holzer will be in on Wednesday.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. We look forward to that. And so that's always a good time.
Tomorrow? No, tomorrow, actually.
Is it tomorrow?
Yeah, it's tomorrow, actually.
Okay. I'm glad we know.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have our friends from Holzer, though, here with us, and we always learn lots and lots of stuff from them. So have a wonderful day. Stay cool, everyone, and we will see you right back here tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.
Bye.